Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jay and we talk about all things post-traumatic growth, reparenting, and child safety. And today I thought I would share some of the things that I love to see parents doing to keep their children safe, and also things that I do to make sure there's trust and safety between us in this nanny, caretaking, parental, childcare position. And the number one thing I think that all people should do, and something I really appreciate, is surveillance, cameras. These days, cameras are very accessible. They're easy to get, they're easy to install, and I mean, you can even I've used the hidden cameras, the light bulb cameras before, because they have audio. If you can get audio, I do think that's a safer option, just because you just have that added layer of security and protection to be able to hear what your caretakers are saying. And that way, if somebody turns out to be grooming, you can catch that behavior early on. You can also just kind of use it to pinpoint different parenting styles or child development needs with your caretaker. So cameras, just do it. Nanny cam, teddy bear cam, Ring doorbell, hidden cameras, exposed cameras, whatever you can do to make sure that you always have a set of eyes on your caretaker. Never leave your kids alone with someone you don't know. Another thing I like is when parents thoroughly vet me. Don't just accept my care because you saw that I was vetted by a website. I know that parents are overwhelmed and they have a lot on their plates, and that's fine. Your caretaker will help ease the load, but don't use that as a reason not to look into who is in your house and who is with your children. I always feel alarm bells when, even though I know that I'm a trustworthy person, my caretaking profile is strong, I have good reviews, and I have strong references, I'm always just a little anxious when people accept me right away. Or, I've had parents say things like, "Oh, I'm not even going to check your references, I trust you." And that is such a red flag. Don't blindly trust anybody, because I'll tell you what, people who are predators, they know how to act trustworthy. They know how to be charming. They know what they're doing. They're doing it intentionally, and they will groom you if you're too trusting. And predators know how to groom an entire family. They know how to groom schools. They know how to groom sports programs. Film sets is a big one. So really just don't lose your vigilance. Really take that seriously. It's $10 for a background check. You can also find things for free. And if you don't have access to that, find someone who does and share an account. Make sure you do your background checks, and even if there's rumors, because groomers are very good at flying under the radar, even if there are rumors about someone being a risk to kids, just don't engage. It doesn't matter if it was a long time ago. It doesn't matter if they were never fully convicted. It's better to steer clear, even if it's just a rumor, than to risk yourself and your children having irreparable harm because you took a risk on a rumor. Another thing that I appreciate is if your caretaker is going to be transporting your children, of course, always make sure you have your booster seats and your basic safety items. Make sure they have a clean driving record. Find out if they've had any accidents and the details of the accidents. And something I really love is when a relative or trusted person actually rides in my car with me. One of my main families actually had their grandmother ride with me for the first few rides. And she was there to make sure the children were buckled up, that we had safety crossing the street, everything. She was there. Also, I was not alone with these kids for the first probably week or so. This same family had their grandma with me the whole time, and that grandma has a degree in child development. So she knew exactly what to look for. And that made me feel very respectful and safe with this family, because I know that they are dotting their I's and checking, dot I's, crossing T's. So I just love that. So if you have someone in your community who you know, love, and trust. Make sure that you have other people vetting your nanny. Another thing that I personally like to do, if I'm doing drop-offs and pickups, usually there's a requirement to be vetted by the school or the daycare or whatever it is. They don't just let people come and go with your children, which is great. So get to know the teachers and staff if you are interacting with any kids' activities. I make a point to learn everybody's names, to make myself known, so they know exactly who I am. And that way too, it's mutual. If anything happens, you've got multiple eyes on you and eyes on multiple people. And all of those people, that's how you build community, is by making sure that everyone is involved and knows what's going on, proactively communicating, all those kind of things. So if you have activities, make sure that your caretaker is interested in getting to know the people, the other adults in your children's lives. That way, if that caretaker sees something going on fishy with another person, another adult in your life, you have another person watching your kids back. Some other safety tips: I would never leave my children alone with a new partner. Many people get taken advantage of by new love interests, and they know how to spot an overwhelmed parent who needs help and is too trusting, and they know how to rope you into a bad situation. And I would really hate to see any family get into a predicament. There are groomers out there who specifically target single parents, and I would really hate for your family to suffer needlessly because maybe you have some unresolved trauma, you've got some limerence going on, or maybe you're just lonely and you want normal love and affection, but you really need to take your time with introducing. So definitely the best way to make sure you don't get into a situation where somebody targets your family is to thoroughly vet them. Take rumors seriously. It's very hard to prove assault legally. It's also really tough to get a conviction even when the person is truly guilty. So I would really hate for anybody to wind up in a situation with somebody that they don't truly know and didn't take the time to properly vet, because that's exactly what they're counting on. So, and another thing is be ready when it comes to addressing any kind of grooming situation. It's really important to be somebody with a flexible mind, because that kind of vigilance really does require you to be able to change your thoughts and mind about somebody. Most SA against children is committed by someone you know, love, and trust. Your uncle, your auntie. Women are guilty too. You can see my story on Soft White Underbelly to hear about my own mother and how she committed sex trafficking crimes against myself. But that's for another video. This is just to bring awareness to the fact that it can be anybody, and it's usually not the person that you suspect. So it's really important to be able to change your mind about somebody that you know, love, and trust in the best interest of the safety of your children or anybody who is vulnerable and in your care. So the last thing I will say is, if your children are in an environment where some kids work on film sets at a young age, some kids join sports, or music and art programs, any situation where they are with an adult that you don't know who is completely responsible for their well-being, do not relax on your standards over time. That is another thing that groomers count on, is the fact that they can gain your trust and loosen the boundaries over time. So if you ever find anybody trying to loosen your boundaries, break the routine for a suspicious way, just always keep your guard up. Because when it comes to your kids, you don't want to restrict them from the joy of life, but you also don't want to let them get into a situation. In another video, I'll talk about ways that you can teach your kids to set their own boundaries and how you can open up communication between you and your children so they feel safe to know that they can come to you if something weird happens. So this is for you, for safe families. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.